What's up, everybody? Thank you all for tuning in. You're now tuning in to my podcast. I'm SF Johnny, Seriously Focused Johnny. You are tuned in to Difficult People Chronicles. Today's episode is called The Message, Just in Time. Before I get into this message, let me tell you what kind of foolishness happened. You ever want to cook something and you have all these ingredients at home? You got just about everything, but it's just that one ingredient you don't have. And if you could, you would make it, but you can't. And you need it. If you could wing it, you would, but you can't. I needed milk. It's not something that I can make the item and wing it without the milk. It's not something that I can make in general because I don't own a cow. So I was making cornmeal porridge for my mom and I needed milk. Didn't have any, not a drop. Went to the supermarket to get the milk. And when I got to the supermarket, there was a guy going inside the store the same time as me. And he looked back at me and I looked at him and we met eye to eye. Then I went down one aisle and he was in the same aisle and we met eye to eye. Then I went around the corner and then I said to myself, is he following me? This is what I'm saying in my head. Is he following me? You know? So I didn't see him as a threat or anything. Then I get to the register. And when I got to the register, I noticed he was leaving the store and he looked back at me. We met eye to eye. And I'm just like, what is that about? But I'm like, whatever. So I start ringing the milk up. Next thing you know, I hear boom, boom. And I look up. Homeboy is fighting the security guard. So I don't know if he intentionally was looking for the security guard or something. And that's what that was all about. I don't know. But I heard him say to the security guard, what you say to me? And the security guard didn't say anything. I think the security guard was shocked because when the fight started, he wasn't fighting back. And then I think he was just like, oh, this dude is serious. So then he started fighting back because the dude started pulling on his shirt and punching him in the face. Like, it was just a mess. And they were just all over the place. And I'm right there. Like, literally, like the register is right there. The self-service checkout. And I'm like, should I continue ringing up this milk and paying? Or should I just step off and leave the milk? But I need the milk. So I was just like, you know what? Let me just pay for this milk. Then the cashier comes and she's like, security. And I'm sitting there like, security? They got security in this store? Because I only see security at the entrance and the exit. Unless they all in the stock room. You know what I'm saying? So the fight goes in overtime because the guy walks off, he picks up his cell phone, and I thought he was leaving, but then he turned back and then he swung to hit the security guard. But then now the security guard is really fighting, like they going at it. And then the guy just backed up and walked off. I think he thought that the security guard eventually wasn't gonna fight him. But then when the security guard started fighting back, he just stepped and walked off. In that time, somewhere in between, I went to God in prayer and I was like, God, protect me. Protect me. And then I said a prayer for the security guard because I was just like, this don't make no kind of sense. And I say that to say this. The cashier, after she called security, she called the cops. She gave them the address. And I could say a good 10 minutes, no cops. No cops showed up. But thank God the security guard, he walked off from the exit and he disappeared in the store. Like he could have went to the back or whatever. And that was a good thing because that man, he looked like he was going to come back. Because he didn't drive off right away. He didn't. The way his car was parked, yeah, I don't know what happened, but I said, girl, get your behind in your car and leave. Because, yeah, you said a prayer, now head out. So I say this to you all to say, you pray when you leave the house. You pray when you get to certain places because you don't know who's a loose cannon, you know. And it just bothered me the whole time why that guy was looking in my face. Did he feel like he needed to prove something to people? Like, what was that about? Anyway, let me get into this episode. This episode is called The Message, Just in Time. So, there was a situation that happened where I was pressed for time. And there was a person on the other end where being trifling, jealous, maybe even envious, who knows, deliberately was trying to prevent me from having access to certain things. And it was pissing me off, like heavily, to the point where you want to give certain situations to God. That doesn't mean that, like, there's going to be situations where God doesn't want you to fight. God might want you to fight, you know. But this situation, it's like I was backed up against the wall. And I wanted this person to just, like, do their job. But you know how some people, they don't like you, they don't know you, they don't want to give you what you need, and they try to be unavailable, not returning phone calls and things like that. So I was just like, whatever. I went to God in prayer. Sure did. And everything happened just in time. Why? Because that same person almost ended up getting in trouble. So I got what I needed. And I said everything happened just in time. And the reason why I say that is because the same time I got what I needed, this person came through, that person came through, and everything went smoothly. That was God. But before this situation, I remember certain people telling me about situations going on in their life where they were stressed. And I had to recall situations where I remember them telling me other stories where I said, you know, God came just in time. Remember that time God came just in time, you know. And then I said it was a lesson for me as well, where we gotta, during those times of uncertainty, have faith. During the times where we don't know, where everything is at stake, where there's a risk involved, we have to stand and have faith. So I kept saying that. Then I would say Tuesday. I was in the bed. I woke up, looked over at the clock, and I said, "Ooh, I get extra time." So I rolled back over because I was like, "It's daylight savings here." And I went back to sleep. And then I woke up again and looked at the clock again. And then I said, "It's only been what? 30 minutes?" And after that, I didn't go back to sleep. And the Holy Spirit came to me and said, "What is just in time for you is just in time for you. But for the other person, it's the last time." I said, wow. So I stayed up for a while after that. And what came to me was that a lot of times we get in situations where we can't see what's happening on the other end. Sometimes we don't know that there's a person being trifling, a person moving slow, a person deliberately not doing the work because they want to make people's life difficult, or they might not even like you, and you don't even know that. You don't even know them, but it's that spirit in them. And because they choose to follow evil, you're not the only person they did evil to. But whatever they've been doing, whatever they did in the past, whatever they think they're going to do the next time, this time, is the last time. Because God is fed up with them. And that's what came to me. So I had to explain that to somebody, and I said, let me explain it to y'all. And let me tell y'all all about it. A lot of times, like I said, when we think that things happen just in time, it could be purchasing property, it can be buying a car, it can be getting to court, filing documents, anything. And we get everything done just at the nick of time, meaning that that next hour would have been no good, but you got it done just in time and everything was processed. Know that the person on the other end who's doing evil, who's moving slow, who feels like they don't want to do what they're supposed to do, or doing things on purpose because they feel they can and they feel they have power to do it, that's the last time for them. There's going to be repercussions. There's going to be repercussions. Even if, and here's another one. Let's say somebody is doing, God forbid, witchcraft on somebody, and God came through and saved the other party, the victim. God came through and saved the victim because the victim called out to God and he was right there. Well, that culprit that's been raising their hand against that person, doing evil, doing witchcraft, stay last time. Stay last time. So what you think is just in time for you, like I say sometimes, could be the lesson for somebody else. And God came just in time for you because he was gonna come for you anyway to protect you. But it was the last time for that other party. Because you see, that other party has been doing dirt all along to different people because they think they can. And I say that to say, God warns people. But not everybody's listening. Not everybody's listening. Some don't care. Some think that they can do evil, ask God for forgiveness, and go on doing the same thing over and over again. Well, they in that season where God is having enough of their foolishness. And that's what came to me. And I say that because the person that was stalling, I would say stalling with my situation, they were doing it on purpose. It was on purpose. It was a guy, and being trifling, thinking nobody don't know, thinking it's cute, thinking he could do what he want to do. But that's going to be the last time for him. He don't know that, but I do. And that's what came to me. And I was like, wow. So I wanted to share that with you all. When you going through hard times and you really need something and it's for your livelihood, or you going through a struggle or a battle, like a warfare, and God comes through for you just in the nick of time, number one, stand on faith. And know that sometimes, even though we don't want to be, but God knows what's best, we could be the lesson for somebody else. And what they doing is it's their last time. They last time. Last time they raise a hand against you. Last time they do curses against your name. Last time they do witchcraft. It's their last time. Because they've been thinking that they could get away with it. Even if they doing something malicious like dragging their feet. They know you need it tomorrow, but they dragging their feet. And they gonna tell you next week. And they know how pressing the situation is. And they could give it to you today, but they telling you next week. Mm-hmm. It's their last time. It's either they do right or they gonna suffer repercussions. Proverbs 12:28. In the way of righteousness is life, and in the pathway thereof there is no death. Keep doing you. Keep being a good hearted person, regardless of how some of these people are out there. Keep being nice. Keep giving a helpful hand. Don't follow after the wickedness of these people. Don't follow after that. Because God is going to deal with them. Trust me. God is going to deal with them. So that's it for today. Love me more and I love you more. Check me out on YouTube, like, subscribe, click the notification for suggested topics. Email me sfj.peace@gmail.com. Later.